thigh, in or out. Note: front and back inseams should have an offset seam allowances, meaning the front inseam will have 3/8 inch seam allowance and the back inseam will have 3/4 inch seam allowance. Understand that when you take in or let out the thighs, this could possibly affect your seat and hip fit. If the seat is a little tight, by letting out the back inseam, we'll add a little more room for fit ease around those areas. If the seat and thighs are too loose, take the back inseam in only. Make sure you keep enough wear ease in the thighs and seat for comfort and to avoid seam stress. Keep the inseams pressed open. You do not want bulky fabric rubbing within the thigh and crotch area. You want to make sure your new finished seam is nice and straight when finished. With a seam ripper, begin to unpick the fly lining from the seat seam. Rip the crotch seat seam and the thigh seam by carefully ripping out the existing seam, 1 inch past the chalk mark for the new thigh seam, no more than 1/2 inch on the front crotch seam. Clean off threads. For taking in or letting out thighs, mark amount needed with chalk directly on the back seat seam, before the original seam on the back panel to take in, or after original seam to let out. From the chalk mark at the crotch seat seam, draw a straight line down the leg and taper into the knee section of the pant. There should be a notch within the serge seam for knee indication. If not,